Well, welcome back. Joining us here on 13 on Your Side today is astronaut and now U.S. Senate candidate Mark Kelly. Mark, thanks so much for joining the program today. Of course, you've been here in Yuma for the past 2 days. You're making your Senate run here. Talk to me about, of course, a little bit of background. What got you started? You're married to the former Representative Gabby Giffords, so this isn't anything new for you, but of course, running is a bit new. So what are some of the things people can expect?
Sure. Running for the U.S. Senate, kind of new. I was a public servant my entire adult life. I served in the United States Navy as a combat pilot over Iraq and Kuwait. Then as an astronaut at NASA for 15 years. That was a job I really loved. But for me, the important part of that job was it was a job about making a difference. In the case of science and technology and the future of our country and our space program. So this is another, side of public service for me. And as I've looked at our country and the direction we've gone in over the last few years, I see that we're not always making the smartest choices. So to the extent that I can help, I'm running for the U.S. Senate.
Absolutely. Well, you've been in Yuma today. You were able to visit the second largest port of entry in Arizona, down in San Luis. Talk to me about some of those things you noticed, and of course, what you take away when you come to this small community here with a lot going on as well, especially in the ag industry. What can you tell me when you come to Yuma?
Well, specifically on the port of entry, you have a port where a lot of folks cross, and then further down the road, a lot of goods, the commercial port of entry, every day, especially during at the beginning of the season here, when there's upwards of 15,000 people coming across, and the port obviously has some issues. I mean, we really need to invest in that port of entry here in here in Yuma, because it's good for Arizona. Mm-hmm. So redeveloping the port is something I think is incredibly important. Agriculture is so important to this state, and specifically here, I mean, this is a treasure not only for our state but for our country.
Absolutely. And being here in Yuma, immigration is a hot topic, even on the national level, but especially here in our backyard, some even calling it a border crisis. Where do you take your approach when kind of handling some of these issues that we deal with right in our backyard every day?
Well, I agree it's a crisis. 100,000 asylum seekers in any given month. Washington, D.C. has clearly failed us on this. We need strong border security. We need technology at the border. We need to improve the infrastructure like the port of entry. More staffing is important, to handle the number of individuals that are, coming across the border, either undocumented or asylum seekers. At the same time, we have to make decisions that are in accordance with our principles and our values. And not so much today, but when you go back several months ago, the concept of taking children away from their parents is just something we can't be doing as a country.
Okay, well, Mark Kelly, thanks so much for joining us. Of course, U.S. Senate candidate Mark Kelly. For that full interview, you can, of course, catch it at KSWT.com. We're going to go to break, folks, but after this, plenty more news as we continue on this Friday night.